Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon.
I have a dream today.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Sick of this? Well, think about this. He's a world leader in temper tantrums. She never loses her cool. She prosecuted sex predators. He is one.
Grab him by the...
She shut down for-profit colleges that swindled Americans. He was a for-profit college.
At Trump University, we teach success.
Literally. He's owned by the big banks. She's the attorney general who beat the biggest banks in America and forced them to pay homeowners $18 billion. He's tearing us apart. She'll bring us together. This is Trump. And in every possible way, this is the anti-Trump. So if that's what you're looking for in your next president, there's really only one. Kamala.
Oh. He's a sex predator.
Yeah, she prosecutes sex predators.
I love it.
He is one. She prosecuted for-profit colleges that, were shams. He is one. It's unbelievable. So, I mean, President Biden, I've said for weeks now that I trust him and that I knew that he would do what was right for this country before he would do what he felt he wanted to do for himself, which was to hold on to power. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want to be president of the United States of America, especially now when you're allowed to tip out, your Supreme Court justices? I mean, who wouldn't want to be president of the United States now, especially now when you can shoot your, opponent, right? Using SEAL Team 6 if so desired. Who wouldn't want to be president of the United States with all of that power? And no checks and no balances. You can't be indicted. Of course he would want to be president. But you know what? He loves this country more. Do you know how rare that is? That is George Washington rare. And a couple of weeks ago, we were saying, what would George Washington do? I believe that Biden will do what George Washington did. And I think that if he gets to a point where he realizes that he cannot win, he would step aside. And then he started adding different things to his, I would step aside if. I mean, he said, if God Almighty told him, of course, he is a Catholic. But then he also said, if he had a health thing, and he did get COVID, although they say he's doing fine, he's recovering. But I would say, look, he put out a really beautiful statement. He did the right thing. He did the right thing for us, for our democracy, for this election, for the American people. His accomplishments are unbelievable. I mean, the economy is the envy of the world. Our economy is. The border crossings are at a 3-year low. By the way, Kamala Harris was never the border czar. Okay, you know that. They made that crap up. So we'll go over what she actually did with regard to immigration. But it has nothing to do with the border czar or manning the border or stopping people at the border or being at the border or looking at the border or smelling like the border or eating at the border. Nothing. It has nothing to do with any of it. All right, so we'll go over that. But Biden put out this great statement. And he said, it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it's been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it's in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. My very first decision as the party nominee in 2020 was to pick Kamala Harris as my vice president, and it's been the best decision I've made. Today, I want to offer my full support and endorsement for Kamala to be the nominee of our party this year. Democrats, it's time to come together and beat Trump. Let's do this. Now, he didn't give that speech on television. He didn't give that speech, verbally. He wrote it down, which tells me that the COVID is, somehow making his voice even more allergic. He's got allergies. I mean, that's a lot of why he sounds so hoarse a lot of the time. But on top of it, COVID, it's a respiratory virus, blah, blah, blah. So he put this out yesterday afternoon, almost at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And this is how we all learned that he wasn't going to seek re-election. Kamala has seen an enormous amount of support from every nook and cranny in our society, every single nook and cranny. In fact, Act Blue, right, as a bunch of Democrats, that listen to, us. Act Blue is it's an interesting thing. The shooter, who, is dead now, from the Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, he had given, when he was 17 years old, a $15 donation to Act Blue. That's a Democratic fundraising small dollar organization. And then when he was voting age, he registered as a Republican. So, say what you want about his politics. I don't think he really had any. I think he was a severe depressive and had, disordered thinking. But anyway, and here's another little detail about Donald Trump's ear. Did you know that it required 0 stitches? Why that giant gauze pad? Was Ronnie Jackson attending? Was he drunk again? He's not allowed to practice medicine, Ronnie Johnson. You know that, right? Okay, so we digress. But anyway, Kamala had seen an influx of cash over the weekend. Small donors, Act Blue donors, right? $50 million from Saturday. I'm losing track. Was it Saturday or yesterday? I can't even remember when the announcement came out now. To today, $50 million. $50 million, okay? And then the major donors, the ones that were withholding because they were trying to talk to Biden privately. And then they started to talk to Biden publicly, hence the George Clooney op-ed, which, as you know, George Clooney is a devout Democratic American. He loves this country. He believes in democracy. And I'm sure, I can't, prove anything. I mean, it would be up to George Clooney to say or not say whenever he wants or doesn't ever want to. But I'm pretty sure he ran that by like a Barack Obama. I'm pretty sure he ran that by a Bill and Hillary Clinton or, people of that status in the Democratic Party before he went to publish it in the New York Times. Okay. And I think that was sort of something that had to be done because Biden was not privately being convinced. And then the money dried up. The donor money just went, bye-bye. We're not going to invest. We're not going to, see our commitments through. We're going to withhold. And then today, all of a sudden, it's being reported by Jim Sciutto on CNN that $150 million, these are the big donor money, the 50 million small donors, an additional $150 million, which makes me sick. I mean, honestly, that we have to do this to pick a president, that we're so distrusted and that we're so, lazy that we wouldn't read about a nominee, we wouldn't read about a person, we wouldn't watch their rallies on our own and form our own opinions. But that there has to be money spent on television, which is what this money is for. So $200 million has been raised for Harris for president. So let me answer one question right now. Does she get the war chest? Does she get the Biden money that Biden's already? Yes, she does. Know why, everybody? Her name is on it, too. It's the Biden-Harris campaign. People love to just, forget that it's a ticket. It was a ticket that they were fundraising on. So, yes, she gets that war chest, too. So there's that. Everybody in this party, with very few exceptions, across the political spectrum, from very progressive to moderate to barely Democratic, like corporate, endorsed her. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to RandiRhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.